Hello vinyl community, this is Randy and this is my entry into Chris Propfe's Musically Obsessed Nifty 650 contest for 650 subscribers, which he's over now. It'll probably be like 700 before this is over. And he's got a great channel. He's got diverse tastes. He could be talking about Buck Owens, or he could talk about Iron Maiden. You never know. I'm back. I just had to turn it down a little bit. What we're listening to in the background is a group out of Springfield, Missouri called Big Smith. This is their CD, Big Rock. Kind of bluegrassy rock, I guess you would call them. Hillbilly rock. But a really unique group. And the first prompt in Chris's contest was to show the first and last records in your collection. And I put my collection in alphabetical order. And the first record in my collection is ABC's How to Be a Zillionaire. A little more dancey than some of their others, not as much orchestration, but like Be Near Me, I think, was the closest to a hit, was off this album. And I end my collection with soundtracks, and so the last soundtrack in the collection is Woodstock, which most people are familiar with this, with The Who and Santana and Country Joe and the Fish and everyone. And in my CD collection, which I have a big CD collection too, this is in alphabetical order as well. And ABC is the first one as well. And Alphabet City has the song When Smokey Sings. This has a little bit more orchestration than the other one I showed. Numerals are in where they're like a 10 would be in the T's, 5 would be in the F, so I don't do it that way. So, and everything is in alphabetical order: jazz, rock, R&B. That helps me so I don't have to figure out what they are. And the end one on the CDs are collaborations, and this is Kelly Willis and Bruce Robeson, and they are actually married. Bruce Robeson is a really good songwriter. A lot of modern country artists have done his music. I think his versions are usually better. But then he's got a brother, Charlie Robeson, that did produce music as well, but he had some throat problems and doesn't produce music anymore. The next prompt was to show a blue album, with a blue cover mainly, and I picked this Jim Steinman, mostly blue, not in the back, but he's a songwriter, wrote most of I think he wrote everything for Meatloaf. Also wrote songs for Air Supply and Barry Manilow and Bonnie Tyler. I think at one time he had 4 songs in the top 10 by different artists. But that's Jim Steinman and the Blue album. His next prompt was whether we prefer Deep Purple or Led Zeppelin. Well, here is my Led Zeppelin albums on CDs. This is my Deep Purple. Sorry, Chris, I'm gonna have to go with Led Zeppelin on that one. These are Eosone speakers. The ones on the other side look the same. They were developed in Colorado by Paul McGowan and a guy from Infinity. So those speakers were from the 90s, early 90s. I do have some other speakers upstairs. They're from the late 70s or early 80s. I think the early 80s. So most sets of speakers I have are pretty vintage. The ones upstairs are from Harm Stereo Lab. I think that's what it stands for. They're out of Colorado Springs, I think. Or no, I don't know, someplace in Colorado as well. And another prompt he had was to name a couple albums on our want list. Linda Lawson, called Introducing Linda Lawson. She only made one album. This is in 1960. I'd seen her in quite a few different television shows where she usually played a singer. I think I saw her in Peter Gunn and Mike Hammer with Darren McGavin. But I thought she sounded a lot like Julie London, and so I've always kind of wanted to have that one. And Little Milton's If Walls Could Talk from 1970. He was kind of in the vein of Bobby Bland, kind of bluesy, but had a real soulful voice. His big hit, Grits and Groceries, I think. And I think George Jones actually did the song as well. Anyway, that's my want list. And the last prompt was to show an album by a popular artist that's not as well known. And I'm picking Pete Townsend and the album All the Best Cowboys Have Chinese Eyes. I think his Scoop material gets a lot of play, and so does Empty Glass, which had quite a few hits on it. This actually had the song Slit Skirts that I got some radio play, but he's got some really wonderful slower songs. Somebody Save Me and Stop Hurting People. I think they're really good, but I think it's a really good Pete Townsend album. And that's my entry. Best of luck, Chris. Really enjoy watching your channel, and hope everybody's being safe, and take care.